Hello everyone, hope you all are fine and doing great. In continuation with my previous videos, today I am going to discuss about PAGE. PAGE stands for polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. And by using this technique, we can separate biological macromolecules like proteins and nucleic acids. Okay, this is a time consuming process where we need to cast two different gels like resolving gel and a stacking gel. So generally people prefer separation of nucleic acids with agarose gel electrophoresis because agarose gel electrophoresis is easy compared to polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. See, whatever the electrophoretic technique is, here we are going to separate the molecules based on the size and charge under the influence of applied electric field. This polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis is widely used in the field of biotechnology, biochemistry, forensic chemistry, molecular biology, and also in genetics, where we are going to separate the biological macromolecules based on their electrophoretic mobility. That is what the principle of electrophoresis, right? We are going to separate the charged molecules under the influence of an applied electric field. So the molecules which carries the negative charge will migrate towards the positive charge, that is from cathode to the anode. So after running the gel, we can easily visualize the DNA bands or the protein bands followed by a staining methods. Okay. By using this electrophoretic technique, that is by the polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, we can easily separate the proteins. We can be able to determine the molecular weight of a particular protein by comparing it with a marker. And moreover, if we want to assess the purity of a protein, again this technique of polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis is useful. Let's talk in detail about this technique. As I told you, this technique of electrophoresis is used for the separation of molecules based on the size and charge under the influence of the applied electric field. Generally, we prefer the separation of nucleic acids by agarose gel electrophoresis. I told you we can use any of the supporting materials like agarose and polyacrylamide. Here in this method of electrophoresis, that is in PAGE, we use polyacrylamide gels, and most commonly we use this technique for the separation of proteins, right? This method can be done in two ways, that is, apart from the routine polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, you can incorporate an anionic detergent called SDS. SDS stands for sodium dodecyl sulfate. Polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. So this is the most commonly used method for the separation of proteins. And also we can go with the other electrophoretic technique called PAGE, native PAGE. Here we are not going to use any detergents. Just we are going to directly load the protein sample into a wells of a gel, and then under the applied electric charge, that is once you switch on the power, when the power passes through the gel, the protein molecules will start migration, and at the end of the electrophoresis you can easily visualize the protein bands. So here if you make out the difference with the SDS PAGE and the native PAGE, here in the SDS PAGE if you observe the gel, you will get an individual protein bands, because here you are going to denature the protein with the help of SDS detergent. But when it comes to the native PAGE, here you can observe it like a stack of a protein band, because here we are not going to use any detergent that brings about the denaturation. Okay, is it clear? Here in native PAGE we are not going to use any detergent, so that is the reason here you will get a stack of protein band, because here there is no step of denaturation. but here we can easily visualize a sharp protein bands because of the denaturation with the anionic detergent, that is sodium dodosyl sulfate. Okay, hope you are clear with the principle of electrophoresis is same for any technique, whether it could be a agarose gel electrophoresis or a Na2PEG or a sodium dodosyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, where you are going to separate the biological macromolecules based on the size and the charge. In agarose gel electrophoresis, I explained you that the DNA carries a negative charge and it moves towards the positive charge. When it comes to the polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, we are going to use a anionic detergent, that is sodium dodosyl sulfate. What it will do is, it will denature the secondary and tertiary structure of a protein. What is a protein? Protein is a building block, right? It contains several residues of amino acids. You know very well how the proteins are synthesized. Once the DNA undergoes a replication forming another copy of DNA, and the synthesis of mRNA takes place from this DNA by a process of transcription. And in the process of translation, what happens? The mRNA will be converted into a protein. So in a polypeptide chain, you will have a more number of amino acid residues. See, the protein is a polypeptide chain with more number of amino acid residues. So each protein will have a different size and shape. If you go with the routine polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis technique, it will be difficult for you to determine the molecular weight of a protein. But when it comes to the SDS page, here you are using a detergent to denature that is to destroy the protein secondary and the tertiary structure. And this sodium dodosyl sulfate detergent will impart the negative charge to the protein. All the proteins will have a uniform charge that is imparted by a sodium dodosyl sulfate after the denaturation of protein secondary, tertiary or a quaternary structure. So this negatively charged protein will migrate towards the positive charge. It moves towards the opposite charge. So here there will be a well where you are going to load a protein sample, and the protein which is carrying a negative charge, it carries the same charge, that is all the proteins will carry a uniform negative charge, but they will be different in the size. Each protein will have a different molecular weight. So based on that property, that is the difference in the molecular weight, we are going to separate the protein molecules. So the smaller protein will move faster compared to the larger protein, and the smaller protein will migrate faster, reach to the opposite end quickly, which is away from the well, whereas the larger fragment which is nearby the well will move slower compared to the smaller protein fragments. This is how we carry out the technique of electrophoresis in process of separating the proteins. Hope you are clear with the role of SDS detergent. What it will do? It will denature the protein and it will impart the negative charge to the protein. So here the charge to mass ratio is uniform for all the proteins, that is all the SDS denatured proteins. But here the separation is achieved based on the differences in the relative molecular weight of a polypeptide. They carry same charge, but the size is not the same. Each protein will have a different size, different molecular weight. So based on that property, we are going to separate the protein molecules under the influence of an electric field. So that is the reason each protein will have a different electrophoretic mobility. Okay. See, for example, this is a polyacrylamide gel and you have loaded two samples into the well. One is a marker and the other one is the protein sample. Okay. I am telling you that by using this technique we can determine the molecular weight of a protein. This lane, after you run the gel, you got some 8 to 9 bands. So this is a marker protein. We can also call it as a protein standard. Okay. And here you got a single band. The single band indicates the purity of a protein. Of course, you may get 2 to 3 bands if that protein possesses subunits. And if you want to determine the molecular weight, you need to compare it with the marker. because here we already know the molecular weight of these protein bands. To run electrophoresis, we can use different supporting materials. I told you earlier that we can use agarose, starch gels or polyacrylamide gels. And this method of or this technique of polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis is very helpful to separate and identify the proteins. Moreover, we can assess the purity of a protein using this technique. Okay, and now let's discuss what this polyacrylamide is. These polyacrylamide gels are chemically cross-linked gels. See, these gels will have a pores, and through those pores the proteins will migrate. That is the reason the smaller proteins will move faster compared to the larger proteins. That is, like, these gels will have a sieving effect. Through those pores only the molecules will move from one end to the other end, that is from one charge to the other charge, from the negative charge to the positive charge. And these polyacrylamide gels are chemically cross-linked gels that are formed by the polymerization of acrylamide monomers in presence of a cross-linking agent called an N'-methylene bisacrylamide. So when you prepare a gel, you need to have these reagents, that is acrylamide and bisacrylamide. So both this acrylamide and bisacrylamide are involved in the polymerization of the gel. The amount of acrylamide solution you use in the preparation of gel will determine the percentage of the gel. You can use different percentage of gels, like you can go with the 6%, 8%, 12% and 15% of the gel, and that percentage of the gel is determined by the amount of acrylamide you use in the preparation of the gel. Suppose if you go with the high percentage of the gels, that will have a less pore size. If you go with the less percentage gels, they will have a high pore size. If you go with the high percentage of the gels, for suppose if you are preparing a 15% gel, the pore size will be less. If you prepare a less percentage gel, for example 4% gels, here the pore size will be high. You can choose based on your requirement. If you are working with a high protein molecule, then you go with the high pore size, or if you are working with a small protein, then you go with the less pore size. Hope you are clear with the SDS page. It is an analytical method which is used to separate the proteins based on the size. And I already told you the role of sodium dodecyl sulfate. Here in this SDS page, we are going to use other two chemicals called APS and TEMED. APS stands for ammonium persulfate and TEMED stands for tetramethylene diamine. Okay. So what is the role of sodium dodecyl sulfate? It is going to denature the protein, and moreover for the polymerization of the gel we are using acrylamide and bisacrylamide, and to initiate the process of polymerization APS is used, that is ammonium persulfate. So here the role of APS is initiator of polymerization, and the role of TEMED is catalyst. What the TEMED will do? It will catalyzes the decomposition of persulfate ions, giving rise to a free radical. Listen carefully. This reaction is a free radical polymerization reaction. What exactly happens is the polymerization is initiated by ammonium persulfate. The role of ammonium persulfate is initiation of polymerization, whereas the TEMED, which acts as a catalyst, that will catalyzes the decomposition of persulfate ions, giving rise to a free radical. So it is a free radical reaction polymerization. So there is another alternative method called photopolymerization. In this photopolymerization, instead of APS and TEMED, riboflavin is used. Now what exactly happens in this SDS page is, see, this is the gel. I'll tell you how to cast a gel and how to carry out this procedure. Just for time being, just have an idea about this technique. See here, this is how we cast a polyacrylamide gels. So you know how the polymerization of gel take place with the help of those APS, TEMED and acrylamide solutions. Now before you load a protein sample, you are going to treat it with the SDS and mercaptoethanol, and that SDS will denature the protein, right? So it will denature the secondary and the tertiary structure of a protein, and it will give a negative charge. That is, all the proteins will attain a negative charge, uniform negative charge. And now when you supply a power, that is when you switch on the power under the influence of the electric field, what the proteins will do? They move from the negative charge to the positive charge. This is the direction. Okay, they move from cathode to anode. After running the gel, how can you visualize the protein bands? Followed by staining, followed by destaining. So in staining method, what you are going to do? You have to suspend this gel in a staining buffer containing Comacif brilliant blue, followed by destaining. So in this destaining process, all the background stain will be removed and you can easily visualize the protein bands. Right, now let's discuss about the requirements and the steps involved in this procedure. Coming to the requirements, these all are required to perform a SDS page. I already told you that the polymerization of the gel is formed by the acrylamide and the bisacrylamide solution. So you need these acrylamide solutions to cast a gel, that is for both the resolving gel and the stacking gel. And also you need distilled water and gel loading buffer. Okay, so here in this gel loading buffer, what we are going to do is we are going to mix this gel loading buffer with a protein sample, and this gel loading buffer will contain either glycerol or sucrose and bromophenol blue. What's the role of glycerol? It will increase the density of a protein sample, and when you add it to a well, it will settle at the bottom of the well instead of diffusing out from the well. And coming to the bromophenol blue, which gives a blue color to the sample, and it will be easy for us to track the movement of a protein. And we also need running buffer, that is 1x SDS buffer, or we can also call it as electrophoresis buffer. And we need protein samples for the separation. And we need molecular weight markers. We can also call them as protein standards. So without the marker, you cannot determine the molecular weight of a protein. And also we need electrophoresis chamber and power supply. We need glass plates. So with the help of the glass plates only, we can cast a gel here. In agarose gel electrophoresis, we have a plastic trough where we are going to seal it and pour the solution to cast the gel. Here in polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, you will be provided with 2 glass plates, and you need to set up those plates and you have to cast the gel with the help of those glass plates. And we also need combs. Combs are required to create a well in the gel. And then we need casting frame and a casting stand. Now let's discuss about the steps involved in polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Coming to the actual procedure, first thing is you need to cast the gels, right? Here you need 2 gels. One is the resolving gel and the other one is the stacking gel. Okay, you will be provided with the 2 glass plates in the equipment, right? So one will be a normal plate and the other plate will be a notched plate. Okay, this is how the 2 plates look like. Okay, what you need to do is you need to place a spacer over here, that is at the edge of the normal plate. Okay, and then you have to place this notched plate over this normal plate, and in between these 2 plates you will have a gel spacers. Okay, so when you place this plate over the top of this plate, it looks like this. This is how it looks like. Now you need to insert a comb here. Okay, this is how you set up the plates, and then at the edges you just place a paper clips, or you can use some clips to hold the plates tightly. So this is done to avoid the leakage of the solution. Once if it gets solidified, it's not a problem, but before it gets solidified, if there is any leakage, then it will be a waste of the solution. To avoid that problem, we need to hold it tightly, and you are supposed to place a comb over the top of this notched plate that will be inserted in between these two glass plates. Okay, now when you pour a resolving gel, you can add till here. Okay, approximately it may take around 2 to 3 ml of the solution, and on the top you are going to pour a stacking gel. So this will be the bottom one will be the resolving gel, and the upper one will be the stacking gel. You can go with the different percentage of the gel. So stacking gel percentage will be of 4%, and for the resolving gel you can go with the any percentage of your choice. You can go with either 6% or 8% or 10% or 12% or 15%. It's your choice. That depends on the molecular weight of a protein. If the protein is having a higher molecular weight, go with the higher pore size, and if you have a small protein and the less pore size is sufficient. Okay. And this is how you set up the plates. Once you are done setting up the plate, first thing is you need to seal at the bottom. When you prepare a resolving gel, you just separate 1 ml into another Eppendorf cube and then add APS and TEMED. Remember, this APS and TEMED ought to be added immediately before casting the gel. So once you add this and leave it like that, the gel get polymerized in the tube itself before you add into a glass plates. So before you pour the solution into this glass plates, immediately add APS and TEMED, because this APS will initiate the step of polymerization. Okay, so once you add these two APS and TEMED, you mix well and then pour the solution into this glass plates. So that's the reason is to seal the glass plates so that you are preventing the leakage of the solution. Okay, after you seal at the bottom, then again add APS and TEMED and then you add on. So how will you add? You just hold a pipette over here and the tip should be inserted here. You just drop the solution and that will settle at the bottom of the glass plates. So as you have already used the paper clips, those glass plates will be held tightly and there is no problem of leakage. Okay, and once you seal at the bottom, you add the resolving gel. Suppose you go with an 8% resolving gel. So I'll give you the information at the end of the video that how much quantity of the TEMED, how much quantity of APS, how much quantity of SDS to be added for the preparation of this resolving gel and the stacking gel. So once you go with those calculations and prepare a resolving gel, you can add directly into this glass plates. And to get a uniform shape, you just add distilled water over top of it. Once the gel is set, you can remove the distilled water. Just you lift up the plates and you just bend it, or you keep a filter paper nearby that will absorb the water. So you will be ready with the resolving gel. On the top, you have to add a 4% of the stacking gel. Again, prepare a solution and then you add APS and TEMED. Mix well and then pour that solution over the top of this resolving gel. Again, leave it for some time to set. Once you pour the stacking gel, you have to place a comb. Don't forget to place the comb. If it gets solidified without placing comb, there will be no wells to load the sample. So you make sure after you add a resolving gel and once it gets solidified, before you add a stacking gel, you have to place a comb, and then with the help of a pipette, you have to drop this stacking solution into this glass plates over the top of a resolving gel and then allow it to set. Okay, once it gets polymerized, carefully remove this comb. Make sure not to break the gel. Just gently lift this comb so you can see wells over here. Now we are ready with the gel. Once you are done casting the gel, this gel is to be placed in an electrophoretic chamber. You will be provided with a gel holder and you need to keep those plates and fix into the gel holder system, and then you have to keep this set up into a main electrophoretic chamber. After you place this gel into an electrophoretic chamber, you have to fill it with the electrophoresis buffer. Remember, this electrophoresis buffer is to be first added to the inner portion where you fixed this gel plates, and moreover the remaining electrophoresis buffer is to be poured into the outer chamber as well. Now you are done preparing the gel, and you have fixed that gel into the electrophoretic chamber, and you have loaded the electrophoretic buffer in a chamber. Next step is you have to load the protein samples, and for loading the protein samples, first thing what you need to do is you have to boil the protein samples 5 minutes with sample buffer. Okay, for boiling purpose you can use a dry bath maintained at a temperature of 96 degrees centigrade. And the reason for boiling here with the chemical denaturant is, where is this chemical denaturant? This chemical denaturant will be present in this sample buffer. That is the reason you have to add a sample buffer to your protein sample and boil for 5 minutes. Okay, we are saying it as a chemical denaturant. That is, obviously it contains sodium dodosyl sulfate. What this sodium dodosyl sulfate will do? It will denature the protein's secondary and the tertiary structure. Okay, and it will impart negative charge to the protein. And moreover, this sample buffer along with the SDS, it also contains mercaptoethanol. And this mercaptoethanol will reduces the disulfide bridges that are holding together the protein's tertiary structure. So what is the role of sample buffer here? It is going to denature the protein. SDS, which is an anionic detergent, is going to denature the secondary and the tertiary structure of a protein, and the mercaptoethanol will reduce the disulfide bridges. So here what we are going to achieve? We are going to achieve the denaturation of a protein. Suppose instead of protein sample, if you are working with a nucleic acid sample, and if you want to run or separate a DNA sample using this polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis technique, what you can do is, instead of this sodium dodosyl sulfate, you can use urea, and this urea will break the hydrogen bonds between the base pairs in a DNA molecule. But here, as you are working with the protein sample, we use sodium dodosyl sulfate and beta mercaptoethanol for the denaturation of a protein. Now you are done with the sample preparation also, right? When you look at the gel, it looks like this, because with the help of combs you are creating a wells over here where you are going to load a protein sample into this well with the help of a pipette, right? Okay, with the help of a pipette we are going to load a protein sample that is mixed with tracking dye. Okay, you have already prepared the protein sample by adding a sample buffer which contains sodium dodosyl sulfate and mercaptoethanol. Now you have a denatured protein sample, and that protein sample, before you load into the well, that should be mixed with the tracking dye. And this tracking dye contains what? Glycerol and bromophenol blue. Okay, due to the presence of glycerol, that will increase the density, and when you add a protein sample, it will settle at the bottom of the well without diffusing out of the well. Okay, and remember, you can load approximately of 5 to 35 microliters of the sample into each well, and in the first well you have to load protein standard, or you can also call it as a marker. Okay, and in this gel you have two types, that is resolving gel and the other one is the stacking gel. Okay, and the percentage you can choose based on your choice. If you go with the 4 to 8% of the gels, we can separate a proteins of 100 to 500 kilodaltons in size. And if you go with the 4 to 20% of the gels, you can separate a proteins of 100 to 200 kilodaltons in size. And this is the resolving gel and this is the stacking gel. Usually the percentage of the stacking gel is 4%. You may get a doubt why we are casting two gels here. Why we are casting a resolving gel and a stacking gel. And the reason for using this stacking gel is to concentrate the protein into a sharp band before it enters into a resolving gel. Okay, and moreover here the pore size will be large. We are using the less percentage gel, that is the 4% gel. That is the reason it will have a larger pore size. and through these pores the protein can move freely. Okay, and with the help of this stacking gel, we are going to concentrate the protein, forming a sharp band, and then finally it moves into the resolving gel. And for this entire setup and preparation, it may hardly take around 1 hour time to prepare a gel and allow it to set. Even we have to prepare the samples. All this may take up to a period of 1 hour. And then to run at a voltage of 200 volts, it may take around 45 minutes. After running the gel, you have to go with the staining with Comacip Brilliant Blue. That takes around 1 hour time, and again followed by the destaining step, which may take around overnight. Of course, you will get bands within 10 to 20 minutes of destaining, but it is recommended to go for the overnight destaining to get a clear protein bands. So the background stain will be removed and you can clearly see the sharp protein bands if you go with the overnight destaining procedure. You are done with the loading the samples. Then you have to switch on the power. Without the power, there will be no migration of the proteins from the negative charge to the positive charge. Once you are done loading the samples, you have to plug the cords and then switch on the power. Once you switch on the power, through this gel pores, the protein samples will start moving, and the proteins will be separated based on the size. For running a gel, it is recommended to maintain a constant voltage of 150 volts, and you have to run a gel for a time period of around 45 minutes to 90 minutes. See, I already told you the importance of tracking dye, right? You can easily make out how far the gel has run. Okay, wait till the dye reaches the end of the gel. Okay, don't leave it for more time, otherwise the proteins will leave the gel. Just wait till the dye reaches the end of the gel and then switch off the power. Remember one more important point here. I told you to fill the well with 5 to 35 ml of a protein sample, and once you load the sample, make sure you fill the well with the electrophoresis buffer. Do not leave it like that. Above this protein sample, you have to add a electrophoresis buffer, right? This gel should be immersed in the buffer, and when you switch on the power, then only the migration of the proteins will take place. Okay, after running the gel, what you are supposed to do? You switch off the power, remove the electrodes, and then you take out this gel plate out of the electrophoresis chamber. And then what you are going to do? You have to carefully remove those glass plates and immerse this gel into a staining solution containing Comacip Brilliant Blue, and you carry out the staining procedure for at least 1 hour. Keep it on a gel rocker and then leave it like that for a 1 hour incubation period. After staining, what you are supposed to do? You have to destain the gel. After destaining, you can clearly visualize the protein bands. Within 10 to 20 minutes of destaining, you can visualize the protein bands, or you can go with the overnight destaining for the appearance of a sharp protein bands. See, if you observe the gel, this is how you get a sharp protein bands, that is to be compared with a marker. Mostly in industries, after the fermentation procedure, they are supposed to purify the protein in a repeated steps. So every step after the purification, they cast a gel and run the protein samples to assess the purity. If they get a sharp single band, that indicates that the protein is in a pure form. So for every purified step, they need to go with this SDS polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. This is how we perform this technique. And for the preparation of the different percentage gels, and for the preparation of the reagents like tracking dye, loading buffer, sample buffer, running buffer, acrylamide solutions, sodium dodecyl sulfate solution, ammonium persulfate solution, please check the video at the end. I am going to give you the composition each in detail. Thanks for watching my videos. See you soon.